Welkom allemaal bij de start van de Rotterdam Architectuur Maand, de derde editie van 2018. Een vliegende start, kan ik wel zeggen, want ik heb straks even op de website gekeken. 60 activiteiten de komende weken, tot het einde van de maand. En maar liefst 9 vandaag, dus er is wat te kiezen. Ook in de regen. Ik denk fantastisch. Dat is waar we 3 jaar geleden naar op zoek gingen. Om de initiatieven in de stad die er zijn op het gebied van het beleven van Rotterdam, het leren van architectuur, om die bij elkaar te brengen. Dat deden we als Rotterdam Festivals en Rotterdam Partners. In de wetenschap dat dat met vele anderen moest gebeuren. Mijn naam is Bas van der Pol. Ik werk als directeur voor sinds een aantal weken. En vanaf maandag met een collega, met Barbara Lunst. Barbara is er vanavond ook en begint maandag, dus daar ben ik ontzettend blij mee. Maar genoeg over R. Met z'n drietjes dachten wij 3 jaar geleden, we brengen het bij elkaar. We proberen te verbinden wat er is en proberen uit te dagen tot iets nieuws. En het was ontzettend leuk. Er zijn tal van initiatieven in Rotterdam die de stad vieren, die de stad laten beleven, die nieuwe perspectieven openen op de stad die we goed kennen. Die plekken van betekenis maken, al is het maar tijdelijk, en nieuwe herinneringen creëren. Ik denk dat het heel belangrijk is, een enorme belangrijke bijdrage van festivals, van activiteiten, van het vieren van de stad. Daarnaast ziet Rotterdam zich gesteld voor grote opgaven, zoals ook andere steden in de wereld, grote transities. Vele partijen proberen door middel van gesprek, ontwerpend onderzoek uit te dagen tot nieuwe inzichten en hoe we via het ontwerp met elkaar die transities aan kunnen gaan. Nou goed, in de eerste categorie, Zigzag City, is er deze maand ontdek het Nieuwe Westen, Middenland op tal van manieren. Al een aantal jaar heel succesvol concept. Je kunt overal op, je kunt overal in, je kunt verhalen ophalen, je kunt genieten van muziek. En met nieuwe herinneringen naar huis. Dat is denk ik heel belangrijk. Dag van de Architectuur is een bekende van ons allemaal. Blijft belangrijk. De gebouwen gaan 1 dag in het jaar open. Althans, sommige. En daar mag je dan naartoe. Al jaren is Rotterdam de stad met de grootste dag van de architectuur. Ook dit jaar weer ongetwijfeld. Zo rond de 10.000 mensen. Dat is bij elkaar opgeteld meer dan menig andere stad. Dakendagen. Gaan we zo nog meer over horen. Je kunt het dak op, 3 dagen lang. Interessant festival. Wat zeg ik? Architectuurfestival in vermomming. Leon, je gaat me zo corrigeren. We gaan zo even leren wat de drijfveren zijn van initiatiefnemers en wat er geleerd is vandaag op de kennisdag, waarmee eigenlijk de architectuurmaand begonnen is vanmiddag. Dat ga ik zo nog even nuanceren. Nieuwe opgaven verkennen. De IABR 2018 tot 2020 dit keer. 4 jaar op zoek naar de grote transities en hoe we van veelbelovende initiatieven naar die grote urban challenges kunnen komen. In een missing link aanvallen via het ontwerp, het onderzoek. Werkbiennale in het HK-gebouw de komende maand. Met tal van programma's. Op zichzelf een architectuurmaand, dat zeg ik er meteen bij. Niet alleen hier, maar ook in Vlaanderen. Want daar zijn onze collega's van de IABR vandaag. Om ook in Vlaanderen die IABR te openen. Maar niet alleen IABR, dependance. Met belangrijke gesprekken over inclusiviteit. Over de stad van ons allemaal. Hoe kunnen we daar aan werken om te zorgen dat Rotterdam in de vaart der volkeren, dat voor iedereen geldt die in deze stad woont. Dus ik denk belangrijke gesprekken bij de dependance in het kader van het jubileum van de Maaskantprijs deze maand. Natuurlijk zelf ook. Wij zijn elke week actief met meerdere programma's en nog vele andere. Het Nieuwe Instituut, met een tentoonstelling, met First Day Nights, noem maar op. Ik denk heel interessant om te beleven, om te bezoeken, om van te leren met elkaar. En om nieuwe perspectieven te openen. En dat is ook de vraag, ieder jaar weer aan een spreker, om ons te helpen de architectuurmaand te openen, ons op nieuwe gedachten te brengen, uit te dagen, te prikkelen. En dit jaar de vraag aan Nanne de Ru, hiervoor. Nanne, welkom. Om in de traditie, jonge traditie moet ik erbij zeggen, Winnie Maas 2016 als eerste die de horizon letterlijk optilde naar het dak van de stad. En ons uitdaagde een nieuwe horizon te zoeken, een nieuw niveau in die stad te betreden. Zoals Leon al jaren bepleit. Daarna vorig jaar West 8 met Adriaan Geuze, die ons terugbracht naar het maaiveld en het belang van openbare ruimte in de stad. Kort en bondig. En dit jaar Nanne de Ru, die ons uitdaagt architectuur, ondernemerschap, trots op Rotterdam te verbinden en nieuwe perspectieven te openen. En daar urgentie in te brengen. Althans, dat denk ik. Want dat weet ik niet. Je hebt een nieuwe lezing. Het was een open vraag. Je hebt een nieuwe lezing voorbereid voor vandaag. Dank je wel daarvoor. Goed, we gaan zo beginnen met een gesprek over de Dakendagen. Leon van Geest, directeur en initiatiefnemer van de Dakendagen. Riccardo Marini, special guest from Italy and Scotland and Denmark, all over. Very nice to meet you and welcome in Rotterdam. En Erik-Jan Pleister van Lost Landscapes, heb ik gisteren geleerd. Daar gaan we zo nog even naar kijken. Welkom heren. Maar voordat we dat gaan doen, Johan Moerman, collega, Rotterdam Festivals, mede-initiatiefnemer, kom er even bij. Ja, je gaat daar op de derde rij zitten, zie ik, dus dat kan natuurlijk niet. Nou ja, kan wel. Je doet het ook, dus kom erbij. Johan, Rotterdam Architectuur Maand, we wilden dat 3 jaar geleden. Wat zie jij gebeuren?
Nou, wat wij in het algemeen... Eén is, als je feestjes organiseert, als je de stad wil vieren, dan is dat niet alleen maar plezier, maar dan moet je proberen het relevant te maken. En dat is één. En architectuur is een fantastisch Rotterdams onderwerp. Sowieso de stad, dus er is heel veel betrokkenheid van mensen. En wij zien ook dat als je daar een concentratie van activiteiten in creëert, en zowel vakmensen als een breder publiek, geïnteresseerd publiek, bij elkaar brengt, dat er dan fantastische dingen kunnen gebeuren, die op zich ook weer activiteiten genereren in de periode daarna.
Wat ik interessant vind om te zien is dat ook nieuwe initiatiefnemers zich melden. De bibliotheek nu over het kleine wonen in de stad. Hetzelfde initiatief om plooit een tentoonstelling te maken. Een venture café over architectuur en ondernemerschap. Dus iedereen probeert te zoeken vanuit zijn eigen perspectief om bij te dragen. Waar ga je naartoe?
Ik ga naar zoveel mogelijk dingen toe. Nee, nou ja, morgen gaan we beginnen en dan zie ik wel. Nee, ik heb nog geen uitgewerkt plan voor verder dan aanstaande woensdag.
Ik heb wel even het programma van vandaag bekeken. Ik zal het zo nog even met je doornemen. Ja. Volgende week gaan wij alweer aan het werk voor de volgende editie, heb ik begrepen van Helene. Dus, waar staan wij over 5 jaar?
Over 5 jaar hebben we het uitstralingsniveau wat misschien wel op Noord Sea Jazz lijkt. Met ieder jaar gewoon topsprekers, met heel veel vakmensen die speciaal daarvoor naar Rotterdam komen. En regelmatig zeer spectaculaire projecten, zoals de trap zal ik maar zeggen, waar grote publiekstromen op afkomen. Ja. En dan hebben we het allemaal over Rotterdam en architectuur in zijn algemeenheid.
Okay, dankjewel. We zouden het kort houden, hè? Dank je. Oké, nou vandaag, ik dacht... Even naar vandaag. Dan kijk ik gewoon even, soms ben je het ook even kwijt. Hè? Dus om 00:00 uur, stond op de website, lanceerde de Rotterdamse dakenroute. Dus dat kon je midden in de nacht kon je beginnen. Ik zag ook op 00:00 uur een tour van Urban Guides door het Merwe-Vierhavensgebied. Dus ik denk dat het foutje is, maar wie weet. Kennisdag, Leon vandaag, om 12 uur, hele dag op zoek naar hoe gaan we dat dak daadwerkelijk veroveren in Rotterdam. Ga je zo meteen meer over vertellen. Biennale is gisteren al geopend en daar kun je de hele maand nog naartoe. En niet alleen dat, maar het hele Merwe-Vierhaven en Bospolder-Tussendijkgengebied wordt ontsloten door de Biennale. Met onder meer ook vele initiatiefnemers. Ik zie Dirk van Pijpen zitten bij jullie in het gebouw. De Keilen-debatten, Keilen-gesprekken, ik zag vandaag voorbij komen, elke donderdag in de maand. Over de grote transitieopgave, energie, circulariteit. Dus interessant denk ik om naartoe te gaan. Bij jullie in het gebouw met groep A onder meer. En volgens mij iets om bij te wonen. Dan hadden we nu vanavond dit hier. En dan kunnen we zo meteen om 10:30 naar de Bijenkorf op dak. Daar is een lavendeltuin. En een film. Hunt for the Wild People. En dat is een film met mega uitzichten. Diepgroene bossen. Die wij kunnen bekijken vanuit onze jungle van beton. Zo zie maar. Nieuwe herinneringen op het dak. Dat is het idee. Ik hou het hierbij. Heren, gentlemen, we'll have to switch to English for a moment. Please enter the stage. We'll sit over there and we'll try to learn what the rooftop days are all about. So, welkom. Leon van Geest.
Hey Bas.
Riccardo Marini. En Erik-Jan Pleister, who's over there. So these are working already, guys. So please grab a microphone. So Leon, start with you. Rotterdam Rooftop Days. Architectural festival in disguise or in sheep's clothes. What is that about?
That's about that everybody thinks that they're going to a real nice festival, but in fact they're going to an architecture festival.
Well, they're duped.
No, they're
It's a
not.
scam.
It's a scam. Yeah, no, it's a scam. It's a very hard thing to let a broad audience discover architecture without telling them, you're going to see architecture. It's going to be very complicated. We're going to talk about aesthetics and all those kind of things. No, no, no. We just let them experience it, and they're talking about it, but we don't tell them they're talking about architecture. So
It's opening up architecture, really.
I don't know. I think we decide what architecture is, what to talk about architecture is. But when I see people standing on the roof and they say, wow, that church there, I never knew it was that big, and it's very near to that river, then they're talking about architecture and about the city in a way they don't have to give words to that, but they're experiencing the city, seeing the city in a different way, and that's what we try to establish. And they say, oh, I never thought I could do this with a building. Why don't we do this at home? They're talking about architecture. What should I do with my home? What should I do with my house? We let them experience new things and they practice it.
So you've been doing it for several years now. So what's the next level? Because you're always looking for the next level, literally.
Let it come into practice. So the next level is first, I think you talked about the Bijenkorf with the Lavendel Garden. First year we had the people of Codarts having a little music doing there. And people said, okay, nice music on the roof, nice. Last year we had a garden with beelden. Sculptures. Yeah. And so 10,000 people came onto that roof, and they enjoyed it very much, but especially the Bijenkorf thought, okay, 10,000 people, they didn't come to shop, but they went through my store. So now they experienced that they had an actual, that fifth element on the roof. It represents very, they should invest in it. So this year we put more than 3,000 lavender plants on it. So and last year we paid the most of it, and this year they paid the most of it. So then we turn it around. They had to invest in it. And in August, I have a meeting with the director and all the other people to sit with professional parties to say, okay, can we do it permanent? Can we make a real green roof there next to the coal single? And then I think, okay, with the temporary thoughts and experiments of the festival, we can do something durable. So that's the next level.
So, and what buildings are you looking for? You say, hey, that building should really transform now.
Oh, there's
what owners?
One top building, that's the Lijnbaan. Yeah. The Lijnbaan is the valley of Bakema. And it should be a green valley, and nobody's ever going to build anything on top. We know that, because it's a monument. So what should we do? We should make it attractive. We should make it a part of the Lijnbaan. We should make it all the... how do you call it? The vitrines that were there before, where people walked and they could see what was in shops. We should have them on the roofs. People walk on different levels through the Lijnbaan. Oh, we should go to Rotterdam. They have this really nice way of walking through the city. It's not you can shop and you can walk through a park and there are vitrines. Well, I don't know, but I think there's a lot to do there. And when you look at it, Ricardo showed us. He had a lecture here today, and he could see the Lijnbaan roofs on from his hotel. And the first shot he showed us, he said, "Oh, I made this from my hotel room. I can see you have to do something about your roofs."
Yeah, so it is.
And that were the Lijnbaan.
Yeah, we were talking about the bituminous roofs, right? So please take us to the program. What is to be experienced the next few days? Because it's still, for now, it was the first day, and then it's tomorrow, and then Sunday, right?
So today there were the knowledge days. Then we had all professionals here with 160 people discussing what can be done on roofs. Which was really, really nice. We have 12 different workshops all over different roofs in Rotterdam. People talking, and we had a 3-hour program here. And I think it was nice. I heard a lot of enthusiastic people. And the next day we have 56 roofs who join the Dakendagen. We have 20 roofs which are like open. And we have a lot of tours. We have specials, like at this moment there's an iftar going on. Iftar is the meal you have at the end of the day when you do Ramadan. And so I asked the mayor to be at our knowledge days, and he said, no, I can't make it on daytime, but please can I join the iftar at night? I said, okay, you may. So.
Yeah, you can applaud that.
No, that's really nice. We actually also won a prize for the iftar, because there's a whole... we do not only invite people who do Ramadan, actually, but also a lot of people who are not Muslim, who do not do Ramadan, and we talk about what the Ramadan is, because for a lot of people it's some strange thing, and Muslims are strange people, and we have a kind of division in the city with all those white people thinking, no, I think it's very normal, everybody thinks it's very normal, but still we don't know it really. But last year, for the first time, we went into a discussion about, hey, I go into a camp in Limburg to not eat for a week, and I pay €3,000 for that, and they do that once a year, a month long, and it's for free. So they're much cleverer than we are, and then we don't have a discussion then about Muhammad or about God or about the city. We have a discussion about ourselves and how we live in the city, and so we have that discussion on a roof, away from the daily rumors.
So festival of inclusion as well in disguise.
Yeah. It has a very large social politics.
Yeah. So Erik, you were working on the Kaap, right, at the moment in Katendrecht. You're actually trying to build a public, accessible rooftop garden. So tell us about that. That's why you were invited today to speak about that.
Yeah. So for the people who do not know me, I'm Erik Pleijster of Lola Landscape Architects. Los Landscapes is our abbreviation. It's not our official name. And we are working on Katendrecht, op Katendrecht, zoals we zeggen. On a large rooftop project, but it's actually more than that. The way the developer approaches is, and it's, I think, a very good approach, is that it's not a garden, it's a landscape. So he tries to build a rooftop landscape. And for us as an office, I think this is very important as a notion that, an unused roof is, that's just a pity, that's just a waste of money, of surface, of resources, of everything. So the mission here is, I think, to use rooftops as much as possible, whether it's for energy or for vegetation, for flora and fauna, water buffering, or publicly accessible roofs for experience purposes. I think that's something we should definitely pursue here in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam especially, but actually anywhere in the world, because, like I said, a rooftop without any use or any nice-looking vegetation or whatever, it's just a mistake.
You had a really nice remark about solar panels yesterday.
Solar panels are that's actually, it's a quote unquote, it's a quote of the landscape advisor of the Netherlands, who said that rooftop panels in the landscape you should at all times try to prevent from happening, because they are tering lelijk. So that's the word that he used, and
it's but ugly.
I explained the word yesterday actually, and in a way he is right. I mean, he talks about about PV cells in the landscape, in the rural landscape or natural landscape, where you have all these diagonal panels, basically destroying your panorama over the rural landscape. And so far, for this type of environment, no aesthetically pleasing solution was found for energy for solar energy to be harvested. At the same time, I think that solar panels on rooftops are a different kind of topic. It's a different kind of approach. They look differently. We saw that also today in the examples. They are much, the angle of the positioning of the solar panels is changing. They are getting much lower actually. Yeah? So it's not 45 degrees anymore. It's just 15 degrees or maybe even less. So, and I mean, for rooftops that nobody can see because they're the highest roofs, it's perfectly suitable, of course, to have energy roofs. It's a different kind of thing in the landscape. We need different kind of solutions, I think, for solar energy in the landscape.
And so for sure, you were talking about that yesterday, that we have to think more in 3D within the city, right? Looking at these roofs as a part of our daily urban lives.
Yeah, true.
Short answer.
It was yesterday. We had a couple of wines, so I'm not really sure if I can remember your remark. No, but so the nice thing about this, I don't think that every rooftop in the Netherlands or in Rotterdam should be part of public life. That's actually nonsense. I mean, but I do think that every rooftop should have an extra function. That's true. And yesterday I was thinking about what we are doing in the Groene Kaap, creating this publicly accessible landscape. There's a complete route running through this project. There's actually a panorama bridge, publicly accessible for not only for inhabitants but also for visitors, where you can overview the Maashaven, it's an attractor. So it's not just accessible. We're even trying to attract people to come to the Groene Kaap. This is something that you can do in just some projects. It could actually work as a area developer, as a
generator.
Exactly, as a generator. But how many generators do you need? It's just like in every part of the city, a couple of these publicly accessible gardens or rooftop landscapes would be very nice, but don't overdo it.
Okay, clear statement there. Ricardo Marina, you were invited by Leon to speak today at the Rooftop Knowledge Day, right? And we met yesterday. And then I was prepared to meet someone from Italy. So I was asking my colleague, who was raised in Italy, to prepare me a bit. And then there was a Scotsman coming out of the plane. So please, just introduce that, because in short, your life story. It was a nice story.
In short, my life story. I can do it in Italian if you want.
No, well, I wasn't prepared that well, so I just go on.
Well, as you can tell from my very strong Italian accent, I was born in Italy. My father was a diplomat, and towards the end of his career, he got posted in Scotland. And nobody from the Italian Ministry of Foreign Ministry wanted to go to Scotland. So he went there in 1965 and loved it. And in 1975, he invited me over. He did invite me over. I got told that I was going to be living in Scotland, which caused me not to speak to him for 2 years, which was very childish at the time. I now look at it in a different way. I choose to live there. I'm not there that often because I spend too much time in airplanes. So that's my life story in, I don't know how many minutes.
Well, I think less than one. And then you were a chief designer or lead designer for Edinburgh for a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, sure, you elaborate a bit. And you
work
were at Gale.
Yeah, I worked for cities, 20 years for 2 different cities. And then I became a director with Gale Architects from Copenhagen. And last July I decided I would be totally insane and try and do my own thing, which is interesting. So I'm very grateful to be asked to come and give talks.
So your own thing is starting your own firm?
My own firm, yeah. But it's a very peculiar firm. I'm not interested in really multiplying. I just want to do what I did with Gale without having a machine attached to it. So if I need to do some heavy lifting, I can pick the phone up to Copenhagen and they can help me at a cost. But a lot of what I did with Gale was really act as an advisor to municipalities, to regional governments, to people like that, and some kind of private entities as well. So that's what I'm comfortable doing. That's what I would like to do. And, it's not easy. At the end of the month, I don't get my paycheck. I have to generate my paycheck, which I'm sure lots of you have to do. It's the first time I have done it. And, I'm not that young, so it's kind of interesting to get to this point. But I'm happy, which is ultimately what, to me, life's about. If you're not happy, there's something wrong.
Okay. This is what we were talking about yesterday, because when Jan Gale came to Rotterdam, I guess it's over 10 years ago now, helping us see the life between the buildings, right? and you were asked to come here and explore life on top of them. So, and you were puzzled yesterday about what you were going to say. So I'm kind of curious, because we were busy preparing what we're doing right now. So I didn't get what was shared today, but perhaps you could share it with this audience.
Well, I can share that the first was the picture of the Lijnbaan. The fifth was a big why. That was his only question. Why should you want roofs to be public space?
And why is that?
No, but that's to me.
He doesn't know.
No, the question that Leon posed to me 10 days ago, when we called each other, was, I want you to talk about roofs, plural, as public space, full stop. Okay, that's a challenge for me, because that's what I deal with, is public space. So I think the third slide or fourth slide was a UNESCO definition of public space. You know, let's get this right. Public space is accessible at all times to everybody, whether you like them or not. And if it's a residential block and there's a roof above and I lived in it, I may be concerned that things are going on up there which I may not be comfortable with. But that's, you know, that's me. So what I was trying to do was give an insight to what good public space is, and then how you could extrapolate that and adapt some of those thoughts to rooftop spaces. And it's not a question of why. I mean, I was posing that question. I think I know why. Because there is delight in being somewhere where you're normally not. We're not birds. Although, are many architects in the audience? Come on, put your hands up. Okay, there's less than I thought.
It's okay, it's the Rotterdam Architecture Month.
I know, but then you'd think there'd be more architects, you know?
They're shy, they're being shy.
They're shy, okay, you're Dutch, you're not shy, come on. Now, we, architects, get trained, and nobody tells us this, to be birds. When you design buildings, when you do the money shot, guess what? It's never done at 1.6. It's always done at 25, 30, 40 meters high, looking down. I've never met somebody that experiences the world that way, apart from a drone pilot, right? And so, being in a rooftop, like being in a mountain, there's something quite exhilarating about it, especially if it's the sense of, I'm not supposed to be there. I am the only person that's there. We like that. That's one of the things that makes us tick. So, I get it. I have a doubt about it being something that could happen 365 days a year. Some lovely lady pointed out to me, this building, I've never been in this building before. We were doing a workshop on the balcony that overlooks. I should see behind this thing, there's a brilliant view. Much better than that.
We'll open it up in a moment, yeah.
And she said, they put a staircase from the square up to here. And I went, did they? Yeah, it was fantastic. I said, how long ago? 2 years ago. And I said, great, that's a memory. If that staircase had been there every day since then, would you remember it? And it's obviously you wouldn't, because it becomes normal. So the fact that that special event happened, that altered the way she thought about the square and the building, that's important to me. It's the same as you doing an architectural festival for a month. If you did it for 12 months, it wouldn't really have the impact that it has doing it for a month. Okay, you have to curate it. You have to be very clever in terms of the nice people you ask to come and talk, ask me back, you know. But it's about how you pitch things. We, as a species, get bored really easily. Rooftop restaurants tend to die after, what, 6 months a year? And somebody said, oh, it's because the food's bad. No, it's because the novelty disappears. So,
and you said also because there's no life around you. Not close enough to you.
But because a good street has life that changes by the minute, right? And it continues to change with the seasons, with the hours, with the days. Architecture can be very static. In fact, we architects are fascinated with the notion of things that change. Piano and Rogers built the most flexible building in the world, the Pompidou Centre. They reconfigured it once, because it's a pain in the arse to reconfigure, you know? So we've got this fascination. But change is something that we find really... change. passage of time, and life is what I think we're really attracted to. Not just the aesthetics, the skin of a building, or, you know, one of the things I always say is if you take people out of a place and think about it very harshly, if it feels like a zombie film set, something's gone wrong. Right? And I used a picture of the square outside, which then you very kindly took me down to show me how beautiful it was. I can imagine that with people chasing me like that. Like lots of buildings or places that I see in the world. But then when, let's say, and not because I'm Italian, Piazza San Marco doesn't feel like a good zombie film set at 1 o'clock at night when I'm the only person walking through it. And I'm not advocating old things, I'm not advocating Disneyland. I like living in the 21st century, I like modern things, I like modern design. But what I miss is the sensitivity to what makes us as humans feel comfortable. And as architects, we can use that because we can hide the sensations by making people slightly on edge and then making them feel really good. We play with that. In our own houses, the way we light our toilets is different from our hallways, different from our bedrooms, different from our living rooms. The way we dress those spaces is totally different. So why do we light our cities exactly the same light if they were toilets? Why we do landscapes that are exactly the same as if they were a backyard? I'm being extreme here. But it's about that special moment that you find in a city. That's what makes cities work and memorable. And really successful cities have so many of the special moments that people keep going back.
So, Leo, what did you take from today?
Wait. There's something popping up in my mind while you were talking. Was like, okay, maybe this can answer your question: why rooftops? Because actually, as we all know here, the Netherlands is rather flat. You know, we travel like thousands of kilometers to experience mountaintops.
I thought somebody was going to say that today. Last night you said, I build a 15-meter hill and people go to the top of it. And I was waiting for somebody to challenge, say that to me. I did a workshop, which was brilliant. I don't know if anybody's here. And it's a standard trick that I do. I ask them where they go on holiday. And I think 3 people said, I like going up mountains. Exactly. Which is... It's one of these things that we have inside us.
Because that's a strange thing. We don't have mountains, but the Dutch actually do love mountains. Yeah. So we want to experience mountaintops. We want to cliffs, high altitudes, etc., etc. Maybe the city can actually provide this, and we just discovered it.
But you asked the question of Leon, what's the next one? And you know, the thing is that you make this experience really dynamic. You know, we talked about parkour. Now, people like me can't do parkour. I'm too old and fat. I'm going to die if I do it. But you know, to be able to zip line between one rooftop to another, you're going to get people that are going to be really... But you can't do that all the time. And there'll be millions of other things that you can do. And you have to be careful.
But you can also do things which are sustainable.
Yes.
And you have to search. We're doing all those crazy things, and then sometimes something pops up. This is sustainable. We can do that.
But that's the notion of testing and refining.
Yeah.
So you will find rooftops that can be permanent spaces because, you know, it's not the Netherlands. It's everywhere. I used the example, one of my favorite places in the world is Manhattan in New York, the island. I love it. I used to drive people in Gale nuts, people that booked my flights, because it doesn't matter where I was, I tried to break my journey in New York so I could spend 2 days just walking around, you know? And it's like, okay, can you do this? Yes, I can do that.
And what's the special thing about Manhattan then?
It's because of the variety. Every time I go, apart from the people changing, there are just different things I discover. There's so much of it, and it's urban, intensely urban. But the example I was using, I love walking through Central Park because, apart from I find it quite funny in terms of watching people and what they do in the different spaces, it's a wonderful green lung, massive. And they're not obsessed with making everything green. They've got Central Park. In fact, they've got very few.
And you don't like the High Line, which is also very nice.
No, I think the High Line is a failure. I don't like it. I actually quite like it. It's too busy. There's too bit, and it shuts down. It locks down. But Peely Park, I don't know if anybody here knows Peely Park, which is off 5th Avenue, is this magical space. You could put 4 Peely Parks in this room. And I love the fact that if I don't really get stressed, but if I'm whatever, I can go and sit in Peely Park with a glass of water or whatever, and it's really calming. But if I want some life, literally 2 seconds, I'm in the middle, yellow cabs, noise, everything happens.
But then that's perfect for a rooftop. Just that quarter of this space, somewhere high up, and you get stressed.
You do have an issue, right? And I ran out of time. I was going to make a slide.
Guys, you have one more day. So tomorrow you'll be here.
We, as a species, are really lazy. We go by, like, you look at any lands, desire lines. I get asked to look at lots of things, and I always look for desire lines. And you get desire lines in landscapes, but you get desire lines like the space you showed me. I look for evidence of how people use a place. And we tend to go, I like that coffee shop. What's the shortest route to that coffee shop? And we avoid stairs, we avoid ramps. We do all sorts of crazy stuff because our brain tells us the quickest and most efficient way of getting places. The minute you talk about rooftop, you either have an elevator or you have to use energy and fight gravity. Not a problem. I'm reborn, so I love exercise, and I want to exercise all the time. There's lots of people who will just go, okay, see you later. Take a picture, send me an Instagram of it. Fine. When you get there, it's fantastic. So,
okay, guys.
Rooftops are great.
Summarizing, you were talking yesterday about it's about places of meaning, creating new memories. So this is the essence, I guess.
Yeah, but what is a place? I believe in collective memory. I believe in places that impact us and attract us, move us in a particular way, and that things that happens in us creates a memory. One of the things, right? There's some people about my age here. Who of you sends a postcard when you go on holiday? Okay? It's a very old-fashioned thing to do. Who of you posts a picture on Facebook or Instagram? Right? That'll be 90% hit. Even if you don't put your hands up, I know you do. Now, it's exactly the same thing. This is a really basic thing. See, when we see something beautiful, and beauty varies, you want to share it with somebody. It's a bizarre thing. You share it with the person next to you. I have phoned people to say, I wish you were here because this is spectacular. And they'll say, take a picture. And I go, I don't know how to use my phone or whatever. And this wanting to share something is about memory. And we want to share that. We want to create that memory. And ultimately, what are we? We're memories. Just now is past. So what do I have? The memory of what I've just said. The memory of looking at you, the memory of walking around. Certain things remain with us. Architecture can have that impact. But what's more important is what architecture can create in terms of the way people react to it and respond to it in a good and a bad way. So it is about memory. It's about creating those special moments in your life.
Okay. So thank you, guys. And good luck tomorrow. Celebrate. Have fun in Rotterdam. And please share. Don't share it on the phone. Send us a postcard. Okay. Thank you.